Performs a quick experiment with a laser pointer to demonstrate how focused light triggers the reaction. He identifies the rare genetic disease as erythropoietic protoporphyria. In this condition, light exposure destroys the blood cells, releasing toxins that cause total liver failure. Chase rushes to the operating room to stop the surgeons. House refuses to acknowledge the new theory and attempts to force his way into the theater. Chase physically blocks him, leading to a violent confrontation in the hallway. The surgical team halts the procedure just as the scalpel touches the girl's skin. The overhead lights are extinguished. Chase's diagnosis is proven correct. The girl is treated with beta-carotene to neutralize the light-induced toxins. Her legs remain intact. House is left to face the reality that his addiction nearly cost a child her life. House is spiraling from Vicodin withdrawal because Cuddy restricted his pills to appease a detective. He confronts her in the hospital hallway, his voice sharp and aggressive. He watches Cuddy struggle to comfort a young patient in a cold shower. Cuddy is drenched and visibly shaken. House blames her for the child's worsening condition, claiming she opted for the bare minimum treatment. Then, he strikes the most sensitive nerve. He looks her in the eye and tells her she sucks at being a mother, and it is a good thing she failed to become one. The insult is calculated to destroy her confidence. Cuddy later sits in Wilson's office, the weight of the attack finally breaking her. She reveals the truth House used against her. She has undergone 3 separate embryo implantations. The first 2 failed to take. She lost the third one. She admits her own awkwardness with the sick girl, confessing she didn't even hold the child's hand or offer a hug. She feels defective, as if the biological instinct for motherhood was left out of her DNA. House didn't just disagree with her medical policy. He identified her deepest private trauma and weaponized it to get his way. His brilliance as a diagnostician is matched only by his willingness to inflict maximum emotional damage on the person trying to protect the hospital. He wins the argument by shattering her spirit. Detective Tritter freezes the bank accounts of House's entire diagnostic team. Foreman, Cameron, and Chase find their credit cards declined and their funds inaccessible. Tritter targets Foreman first. He offers a direct trade, testify against House, and Foreman's brother receives early parole from prison. Foreman sits in silence as the detective weighs the value of his loyalty against his family. Tritter shifts his focus to Cameron. He digs into her personnel file, bringing up her history of falling for dying patients. He accuses her of being an ethical person who has been corrupted by House's influence. He mentions a mistake she corrected in college to prove she used to value the truth. Cameron lashes out, but the psychological damage is done. The final play is a public lunch with Chase. Tritter sits with him in the hospital cafeteria, ensuring the rest of the staff sees them in a seemingly friendly conversation. He drinks from a straw and smiles, creating the illusion of a partnership. 24 hours later, Tritter unfreezes all 3 accounts. The timing is deliberate. Because the funds become available right after the lunch, Foreman and Cameron assume Chase struck a deal. Chase is left to explain a coincidence that looks like a betrayal. Tritter watches from the sidelines as the team's internal trust collapses. He has not found a traitor. He has manufactured one using a bank statement and a lunch tray. Dean Cuddy cuts off Dr. House's supply of Vicodin. The withdrawal begins. To manage the chronic pain in his leg, House uses a blade to cut his own forearm. He relies on the resulting endorphin release to replace the missing narcotics. While his body trembles, he sits in the hospital cafeteria with a young patient. The girl is a dwarf. She points to a stuffed bear and insists it is a dog. This cognitive lapse forces House to re-examine her files. Every specialist has diagnosed her with genetic dwarfism. House looks at her x-rays again. He notices her growth plates are perfectly normal. He identifies the logical error. A genetic dwarf cannot have normal growth plates. He concludes she is not a dwarf at all. She has a pituitary tumor. The mass has crushed her hormone production, stopping her growth years ago. House confronts the girl and her mother. He ignores all bedside manner. He lists the physical limitations of her height, detailing the struggle to reach elevator buttons and the indignity of being a permanent child. He describes her current life as a performance that can be fixed with surgery. The girl accepts the truth and agrees to the treatment. House proves the entire medical staff wrong, while in a state of physical collapse. He secures his prescription and leaves. The girl will grow to a normal height. The medical mystery is solved because the bear was mistaken for a dog. Detective Tritter waits in House's office with a final deal. Wilson has negotiated a guilty plea and 2 months of rehab to keep House out of prison. House looks at the papers and refuses to sign. He views the compromise as a betrayal and orders both men out of his office. He chooses his ego over legal immunity. Physical reality soon takes over. House begins to suffer from severe drug withdrawal. His body shakes and he can no longer think clearly. On Christmas Eve, he goes to the hospital pharmacy. He looks up the records of a deceased patient named Zabaluski. House forges the dead man's signature to obtain obtain a prescription for oxycodone. He takes the pills to stop the physical agony. Days later, House realizes he cannot win. He walks into Tritter's office, ready to accept the original deal and go to rehab. He expects to sign the papers and end the investigation. Tritter does not pick up a pen. Instead, he slides a file across the desk. He has the pharmacy logs from Christmas Eve. He shows House the forged signature and the timestamp from the pharmacy camera. Tritter explains that dead men do not collect their own prescriptions. The original offer is void. House has committed a new felony while trying to escape the first one. The detective has watched House walk directly into a trap. House stands in the office as his last exit closes permanently. Gregory House sits at the defense table, facing 10 years in prison for drug theft. Detective Tritter presents the court with evidence of stolen prescriptions and systemic narcotic abuse. The prosecution's case is nearly airtight. At the final moment, Dean Lisa Cuddy enters the courtroom to testify. She produces a pharmacy log from December 24th, bearing House's signature. Cuddy informs the judge that she was aware of House's intentions. She testifies under oath that she personally entered the pharmacy and replaced the oxycodone with placebos. This testimony changes the facts of the case. House did not steal controlled substances. He stole sugar pills. While House's medical team is occupied with a selective vertebral angiography, Cuddy uses the time to solidify her narrative. Her statement creates a fatal flaw in the investigation. Without the presence of actual narcotics, the criminal charges cannot stand. Tritter realizes his evidence has been invalidated. He accuses Cuddy of forgery, but the official logs contradict him. The judge finds the evidence insufficient and dismisses the case on the spot. House is cleared of all charges, but the cost is immediate. After the hearing, Cuddy confronts House. She has committed perjury and fabricated medical records to protect him. She makes the reality clear. She now owns his professional existence. House must return to rehab and fulfill every clinical duty she assigns without complaint. He has escaped prison, but he has lost his independence to the woman who lied to save him. Firefighter Derek collapses during a rescue operation. His EKG monitors capture violent fluctuations in his heart rhythm, but the cause is not smoke inhalation. Dr. House identifies a lethal chemical surge. Derek is in love with Amy, his brother's fiancée. This secret obsession has triggered broken heart syndrome. His brain is flooding his cardiovascular system with catecholamines, causing his heart to fail. Standard treatments like beta blockers and antidepressants prove useless. The emotional trigger is too constant. House proposes a radical intervention, electroconvulsive therapy. The goal is to physically delete the memories of Amy. By disrupting protein synthesis in the brain, the procedure will wipe out Derek's experiential history. He will lose his firefighting expertise and his personal connection to his family to stop the chemical attacks on his heart. Derek accepts the trade. Medical staff place bilateral electrodes on his temples and administer a high-intensity stimulus. A controlled seizure ripples through his brain, interrupting the neural pathways associated with his secret love. Derek wakes up in the recovery ward. His vital signs are steady. His brother and Amy enter the room, waiting for a sign of recognition. Derek looks directly at the woman he once nearly died for. He shows no emotion and no pain. He asks the doctors who these strangers are. The physical deletion is successful. The heart is saved, but the man who loved her no longer exists. House enters the McDaniel Drug Rehabilitation Wing to avoid a prison sentence. He sits in group sessions, drinks water, and performs the role of a man seeking redemption. His colleagues and a judge monitor his progress from the outside. He appears disheveled and defeated. Wilson visits the facility to check on him. In the quiet of the ward, House offers a rare apology. He tells Wilson he was wrong to blame him for his legal problems. He admits Wilson was only trying to protect him. Wilson watches House, believing the 12-step program has finally forced a breakthrough. The performance is flawless.